Hi kids, I'm Josiah Milky, and welcome to... I'm Josiah Milky, and welcome to... Where's she? Jordan! Where are you? Come over here!
I'll be right there!
Wow, what a way to make an entrance.
Thought about what dress up today.
Well, what are you? Whoa, what is this thing?
It's my mermaid tail blanket from Christmas. I got for Christmas one year.
Oh, right, Mermaid. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Disney movie review the world has been waiting for. Today, we are starting the Disney Renaissance era of Disney feature animation. That's right, folks. Today we're talking about Disney's 28th animated feature film classic, The Little Mermaid. But first, I think I owe you an explanation about today's review. My family and I are on vacation in Minnesota. We're here for a reunion with my dad's family, and we needed to find another place to do the review. And so the only place we could find that was tranquil enough for this review was our cousin Jem's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Which explains why we've got a different background here. We were gonna try and get some cousins in on our review, but apparently they're all too busy hanging with the fam, so... hey, Jordan, scooch up a bit so you can...
All right.
That's better. Okay, so if cousins come in while we're doing this review, or any other family members, we apologize for the inconveniences. But this is actually, but bottom line, just stick with us as we do this review on location here in Minnesota at my cousin's house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so The Little Mermaid. Walt Disney had actually wanted to do a whole package film of Hans, yes? Never mind. As I was saying, Walt Disney had actually wanted to do a whole package film of Hans Christian Andersen stories. Little Mermaid was one of them, but unfortunately the idea never came to fruition. Several years later, while co-directing The Great Mouse Detective, Ron Clements actually found the book, The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen, in a bookstore while looking for film ideas, and read the book, and found it to be really good, and wondered why it had never been done in feature film animation before. And when he got to the end, he realized why. It's because the original Andersen story doesn't have a happy ending for the mermaid. So Ron thought it would be fun to take the Little Mermaid story from Disney feature animation, or the Andersen story of the Little Mermaid, and do it animated and give it a much better ending. He and John Musker, his partner from The Great Mouse Detective, share both writing and directing credits on the film, and have gone on to direct and write other animated Disney features since then, but we'll get to those later. Clements wrote like a 2-page treatment for the Disney version of Little Mermaid and presented it at a meeting they called the Dawn Show, where they would give ideas for future animated Disney features. And originally Little Mermaid got passed over because the CEOs thought like it was going to be too similar to Splash, a live-action mermaid movie starring Daryl Hannah that they were working on a sequel to. But the following day, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the head of Disney feature animation at the time, called up Clements and said, you know what, let's go ahead and go with Little Mermaid. I think we can give it a shot. So that's how production on Little Mermaid began. It did get shelved for a few months because they were also working on Roger Rabbit and Oliver and Company at the time. But after those were done, they were able to focus more on Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid is also the first animated Disney feature not to be made just in Burbank, California, where the main Disney animation studio is. They also bought a new studio, an old warehouse in Glendale, California, so they could have more room to work. Little Mermaid was first released in fall of 1989. The same year, Walt Disney World opened their third theme park, Disney MGM Studios, which is now Disney's Hollywood Studios. And 1989 was also the year Disney came out with their live-action comedy movie starring Rick Moranis, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Katzenberg warned the directors, John Musker and Ron Clements, that The Little Mermaid was not going to be as successful as Oliver and Company because that's a boys' movie. But the directors didn't care because Little Mermaid was their baby and they just wanted to do a good job. Little Mermaid actually ended up being a box office success, making $84 million in America on its first run. Slightly below Katzenberg's expectations, but 64% more than what Oliver earned.
Whew.
It did even better overseas, and when it got re-released to theaters in 1997. It was actually a couple days after you were born.
Oh.
Little Mermaid also got really good reviews, and of course is famous for bringing Disney feature animation back into awards recognition when the Oscars came along. But we'll get to those later. For now, here is the story of The Little Mermaid and our personal thoughts on the film. And Jordan, since you're the princess lover, take it away.
Okay, here we go. So, this movie tells the story of Ariel, a 16-year-old mermaid with red hair and a green tail, who has a beautiful singing voice, much like myself. But she wants to be part of the human world, and to like human objects and keep them in a secret grotto. However, she has to keep it a secret because her dad, King Triton, distrusts mer people. But one night, Ariel goes to the surface.
Distrusts humans?
Yes. But one night, Ariel goes to the surface, and on board a ship, she meets the handsome Prince Eric, and instantly, it is love at first sight.
An interesting behind-the-scenes story about Ariel, they thought about giving her blonde hair, but that would have made her look too much like the Daryl Hannah mermaid character in Splash, so they ended up giving her red hair instead, because you can emote more with red hair on girls in animated films, I guess.
Yeah. Ariel rescues Eric from a storm at sea and longs to be with him, so he tries to deal with the sea witch Ursula to give up her voice to live on land for 3 days, and in that time, Ariel has to get Eric to give her the kiss of true love. If she succeeds, she'll be human forever. If not, she'll turn back into a mermaid, and she'll belong to Ursula.
Very good. Okay, so that's pretty much the basic story right there. Now for a few elements of this film. First off, how can you talk about The Little Mermaid without mentioning her voice? Ariel's described as Triton's favorite daughter, because she's the youngest. That's probably part of it, kind of like the biblical story of Joseph and his many brothers.
Yep.
He was the youngest and was loved by his father, and the same goes with Ariel and her sisters.
Mm-hmm.
The voice of Ariel, she's described as having the most beautiful singing voice in the Undersea Kingdom, and who can forget the voice of Ariel, Jodie Benson? I don't care that she's married and has 2 kids, she is my celebrity crush. Actually, I have a couple celebrity crushes, but Jodie Benson's my all-time favorite celebrity crush. Every time I hear her voice, I feel like I've got angels watching over me. I can make a religious reference on a review, right?
I guess so, as long as Dad doesn't get mad.
Uh-huh. Anyway, but Jodie Benson absolutely kills it as Ariel. And it's hard to imagine the movie without her song, Part of Your World. Something a lot of people get wrong that my good friend Rachel Wagner brought up when she reviewed this film is that Ariel is too rebellious and doesn't deserve to be on land with a guy she fell in love with. But actually, Ariel's love of human things is there long before she falls in love with Prince Eric. It's actually before she sees Eric on his ship that we see her in her grotto with all her human things. And this is where she sings her song, Part of Your World.
Which is my personal favorite Disney Princess musical number.
And this is what established the formula of the classic I Want song that we would get in Disney films to come, in feature film animation. It's hard to imagine the movie without Part of Your World, but the amazing thing is it almost didn't make it into the film. The way they would test these movies for previews before they tried them with live audiences is they would bring in classes of school kids, and during the song Part of Your World, they got restless. One kid actually dropped his popcorn and started a ruckus, and Jeffrey Katzenberg took that as a sign that the song should be cut out. The filmmakers all made their arguments, and it was finally the guy who animated the sequence, Disney animator Glenn Keane, who said, let's at least colorize it, animate it some more, and give it a second chance. And the next time they tried it with an audience, the kids didn't squirm, and to this day, Katzenberg still regrets the fact that he almost cut that song out. One key argument they made is that Somewhere Over the Rainbow was also almost cut from Wizard of Oz, so it was a similar deal, but...
Huh.
Prince Eric's probably the weakest of the main characters. All that Ariel seems to like about him is that he's good-looking. He's a bit of a step down from Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty, because at least Prince Philip had a bit more of a personality with his heroic side in the second half of Sleeping Beauty. Prince Eric does display a heroic side at the end of the movie, because he's the one who has to take down Ursula, but hey, at least he's better than Snow White and Cinderella's princes. Sebastian the Crab, originally in the book, the crab was more minor. He was an English-sounding crab named Clarence, but for this movie, they changed him to a Jamaican crab named Sebastian, and he actually serves as Ariel's conscience, trying to help her on her quest. Jodie Benson, I know, always steals the show as Ariel, but Samuel E. Wright, who does the voice of Sebastian, knocks it out of the park with Sebastian's voice, especially during his two songs, Under the Sea and Kiss the Girl, both of which were nominated for the Oscars, with Under the Sea winning. And then Pat Carroll, the voice of Ursula, Ursula was inspired by drag queen Divine, and they originally wanted Divine to do Ursula's voice, but he/she, I say drag queen because it's a guy dressed like a girl.
Yeah, I've heard of her. Him.
Yeah, he/she passed away before they could get him, so Pat Carroll got cast as Ursula instead. She's good, too.
And her song, Poor Unfortunate Soul, is definitely one of the better villain songs.
Yeah, this one established a Disney villain song trend for several years. All the voice actors in Little Mermaid do a good job, but, I think Jodie Benson, Pat Carroll, and Sam Wright are definitely the top three. Little Mermaid reestablished the traditional musical genre of Disney animated features. It was something they had broken away from for years. I think the last true musical they did was, probably all the way back on the last film Walt Disney himself worked on, which was The Jungle Book, maybe Aristocats, and they did have songs in the other movies, like Rescuers, that the characters sang, but not all the songs in those movies, like Rescuers and stuff, were sung by the characters. But Little Mermaid is the first true musical at Disney Animation in a long time.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid not only is the first animated Disney feature in 12 years since The Rescuers to be nominated for the Oscars, but it's also the first animated Disney feature film in almost 50 years to actually win an Oscar since Dumbo. Because Little Mermaid won Best Score and Best Original Song for Under the Sea at the Academy Awards, with an additional Best Song nomination for Kiss the Girl. Honestly, I cannot say much more about Little Mermaid. I could go on and on and on, but I think we've covered everything we need to cover on this movie. But it is the start of the Disney Renaissance era. I don't know where Disney would be if it hadn't been for Little Mermaid's success, but I'm so glad Little Mermaid was successful. It was the right movie at the right time, and it established a true rebirth of Disney feature animation for years to come.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid, first off, let's talk about how Little Mermaid has grown as a franchise over time. Let's see, they had a prequel TV series in 1992 that lasted for about 2-3 years, something like that.
I think so.
And this is a series that tells stories from Ariel's mermaid days. Direct-to-video sequel, The Little Mermaid 2 Return to the Sea, was released directly to video and DVD fall 2000. It sold well, but it got mixed reviews, because it's basically a rehash of the first movie with some differences. This time around, the star of the movie is Ariel's daughter, Melody, voiced by another one of my favorite voice actresses, Tara Strong, back then known as Tara Charendoff.
Yep.
She got married shortly before the film came out. Unlike her mother, who was a mermaid who dreamed of being a human, Melody is born human, but dreams of living under the sea. She becomes a pawn in the scheme of Ursula's sister Morgana Morgana turns Melody into a mermaid, but it's all a part of her plot to get Melody to steal King Triton's trident so Morgana can control the seven seas. Jordan and I watched The Little Mermaid 2 a lot as kids when we were hanging out at our grandparents' house.
Yep.
And it came out in 2000, so we were the right ages for it, I think. But when you get older, it's hard to appreciate the direct-to-video films that Disney comes up with. Because most of them basically just take the first movie and remake it again. And that's what they did with Little Mermaid 2, is it's basically the same I Want story of the little girl, but the reversal.
Right.
Well, Melody is basically her mom in every way except for her hair color and their dreams. Morgana is basically a green, skinny version of Ursula, complete with the same voice actress, Pat Carroll. Most of the characters from the first movie, like Triton and Ariel's best friend Flounder the Fish, don't do much in the sequel. The songs are okay, but they're not nearly as good as the Ashman and Menken songs in the first movie. Oh, that's something I forgot to mention. I mentioned that John Musker and Ron Clements were the directors. The music and score in this film, the songs and score, are done by Alan Menken and the late Howard Ashman. They worked together on the off-Broadway musical Little Shop of Horrors, which went on to be a feature film directed by Frank Oz from The Muppets.
Okay.
And then Ashman and Menken got to collaborate again on the songs for Little Mermaid, and like I said, their work was fantastic because it won them Oscars. Little Mermaid 2's songs are not nearly as good, and the new characters that aren't just carbon copies of characters from the original movie, even then they aren't that good. Morgana has her pet shark, Undertow, who gets shrunk down by Triton early on in the film, which leads to some comedic moments, but otherwise, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Melody's sidekicks, Tip the Penguin and Dash the Walrus, are basically Arctic versions of Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King. Tip the Penguin even has the same voice actor that played Timon in Lion King on Broadway, Max Casala. So, Little Mermaid 2, you'll probably like it more when you're a kid, but otherwise, this is one you can probably avoid. Although Melody's one of my favorite unofficial Disney princesses.
Yeah.
I love her voice, and she's got a headstrong personality. Even if she is a carbon copy of her mother, she's a pretty good heroine.
Yeah.
Less exciting is the direct-to-DVD prequel, The Little Mermaid: Ariel's Beginning, released directly to DVD at the end of the summer of 2008. Its 10th anniversary is actually in a few weeks.
Huh.
This one takes place 10 years before the first movie. Triton has banned music from his undersea kingdom of Atlantica following the death of his wife, Ariel's mom, Queen Athena. But one night, Ariel discovers Sebastian secretly runs a music club and tries to convince her father to let music back into the kingdom. Little Mermaid 3's got a few bright spots, with Ariel's sisters getting to play bigger roles this go-around, and more music. The villain, Marina Del Rey, although voiced pretty well by Sally Field, she's pretty weak compared to Ursula.
Uh-huh.
So bottom line, both Little Mermaid direct-to-video follow-ups have their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid characters have also appeared in Disney theme parks, on House of Mouse,
And Ariel was a guest star on Sophia the First.
in the special episode The Floating Palace, helping Sophia figure out how to save her mermaid friend Una, and Little Mermaid had a Broadway musical adaptation 10 years ago.
Yep.
Little Mermaid's latest home video release was its Diamond Edition Blu-ray and DVD release in fall of 2013, with old bonus features including audio commentary, a 45-minute behind-the-scenes feature, deleted scenes, a music video for Kiss the Girl, performed by Disney Channel star Ashley Tisdale, and an animated short, The Little Match Girl, also based off a Hans Christian Andersen story, and originally planned for a Fantasia 2006. Yes, they were going to do a third Fantasia film, but it got canceled.
Ah.
Spoiler alert, just to warn you, unlike Little Mermaid, Little Match Girl stays true to the original Andersen story and ends bittersweetly.
Yeah.
New bonus features for the Diamond Edition release of Little Mermaid include a deleted character, Harold the Merman, a feature called At Disney Animation, where Disney animators talk about their work at Disney, a new music video for Part of Your World, performed by Carly Rae Jepsen.
The gal who sings Call Me Maybe.
That's right. Karaoke Sing-Along, following in the footsteps of Froggy Sing-Along on the Muppet Movie Nearly 35th Anniversary Edition, and later carried over to stuff like the 50th Anniversary Edition of Mary Poppins and the Diamond Edition of Jungle Book. Karaoke is karaoke sing-alongs of songs from the movie. And then there's a new featurette where Jodie Benson and her kids check out the new Fantasyland at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom that they had at the time.
Huh.
We just have the Little Mermaid Diamond Edition DVD release all by itself, which only includes 2 deleted scenes and the Jodie Benson new Fantasyland featurette in the way of bonus features. So that's our thoughts on Little Mermaid. Honestly, what more can I say about this movie? It's fantastic!
I know, I could sing Part of Your World over and over again.
And she is truly, I would swear, if it wasn't for the fact that Jodie's a movie star and she's a simple college girl, I swear she was Jodie Benson's double. So kids, if you haven't seen The Little Mermaid, you are so missing out right now. Check it out, watch it with your family and friends, and parents, don't get upset if your kids walk away singing Howard Ashman and Alan Menken's songs from the film. They are that good. Little Mermaid finally brought Disney feature animation out of a rut they had been in for 20 plus years following Walt's passing. Its franchise may not be the best, but the original film is definitely worth watching, and it helped spark a new renaissance in Disney feature animation for years to come. So we've got a lot of Disney masterpieces to look forward to. Well, we're out of time for today. Remember,
When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
Bye!